These are the weapons that I mostly used for my dexterity or technique builds. They are just amazing, and there's just so much to talk about them. Have in mind that all of the DLC weapons usually are very flashy, and these are weapons that you can be using alongside with the bow, which is the other dexterity weapon that we have right in here on DLC. The cool thing about these weapons is that they have lots and lots of changes into their attacks and lots of tracking. That's one of the things that I love about them the most. And also they have a critical hit chance, and the critical hit chance is 40%. So since they attack so fast, they're going to be dealing lots and lots and lots of critical hits. Where are you going to get them? Well, they are a boss weapon actually, from the very first boss fight that you fight on the DLC. You can then exchange them on the Hotel Krat Hotel. You can just come right in here, and then depending on who is it that you have right in here for your rare weapons, these are the ones that are going to be you're going to need the Macabre Puppeteer's Go to get the Death's Talons. But also, this could also be done. You can get the claws with with claws on the other Hotel Krat. But if you do not want to wait that much, then this is the ideal place to come to. Let's talk about the moveset, because that's one of the things that I love the most about the weapons. Before that, though, what I mentioned, like the critical hit chance, every time that you see that the enemy is glowing, like, well, we didn't manage to get any critical in there. Every time that you have like a glow attack like that, that's a critical damage. It's going to deal more damage, but also the cool thing about critical hits is that they actually stagger the enemies, and while they stagger the enemy, they deal more posture damage. One thing that I love about these weapons is that, as you can see, the tracking is just amazing. You're going to be following the enemy towards the end of the world, and they are very fast attacking weapons with the animation, which is very fast. It's a very fast animation that is going to allow you to continue defending and what have you. One of the attacks that I like to use the most with these weapons is like the running attack, because it has a very high chance of providing you with those critical hits, and they are amazing for stats up for the combo. Now, one thing that you also need to have in mind is that the heavy attack, it's actually 2 swings right in there. If you charge the heavy attack, it's also going to be 2 swings, so that's very useful to have. Every time that you charge a heavy attack, it's always going to be 2 swings. Even the second one that seems to be just 1, it's actually 2, because you're hitting the enemy with both of the claws. But my advice is that more often than not, this is what I actually like to use. More often than not, I'm just using the heavy attack to attack, because the heavy attack, it's very fast. Like, it's very fast, and the tracking on this thing, it's actually amazing. However, it's not going to be as amazing as the basic attack, but that's one thing that you need to have in mind. Let's talk about the weapon arts, the Fable arts, and which one should you be using. Which I believe, like the second one, you should always at all times be using the second one. The first one is very flashy. It's going to deal lots and lots of damage, but compared to other weapon arts that we have on the DLC, it's not underwhelming. It's still decent damage, 3k damage once you manage to complete the combo right in here, which is also going to be potentialized. Remember, that's 4k damage, because sometimes the critical hits can also apply in here. But I would say that it is not as good as the second one, because what this does is that this completely changes the playstyle and the animation of the weapon. So the light attacks are going to be faster, and you're going to be able to deal that 4k damage faster. But ideally, what I like to use, it's like the charge heavy attacks. Like, take a look at this. This is just monstrous damage, but also the one that I like to spam the most when I'm using this thing, it's just heavy attacks, because it turns you into like this whirlwind spin to win scenario that deals lots of damage and lots of posture damage, that you can just stack those critical hits to deal more damage. But ideally, if you have the Fable odds to spare, like for example, I have 5 right in there, so my advice is that you actually use this thing and then continue with your Fable odd. Whenever the enemy stagger, you can continue the assault with this right here, and you're going to be able to deal like up to 10k damage in no time. A couple of the amulets that I actually do advise for you to use as a must with this build is going to be the Assassin's Amulet, because this is going to increase the damage every time that you do a critical attack. And since you have a very fast attacking weapon that has a native 40% chance of doing critical hit damage, that's actually ideal. I like to use the Carrier's Amulet just because I'm using like the heaviest possible gear that you can have in the game to add extra little defense. But one more thing that I like to use, this is something that you actually, I believe, you get on DLC, the Swordsmanship Master Amulet, which reduces the weapon durability consumption, because one thing that I do not like about these weapons is that they do not have that much durability. And since you're attacking like a maniac, that durability is going to go down the drain really fast if you're not careful. The weapon can actually reach S scaling if you give it a technique handle like the one that I have right in here. So we actually do have S scaling. That's ideally what you want to do, because the basic of the weapon, once you have it upgraded, actually I was dealing that much damage and mine isn't really upgraded to the maximum damage. Like my weapons are +4 because I have been upgrading lots of amazing stuff right in here. But you can see it has A scaling once you add the technique crank or handle. This is going to give you S scaling into dexterity or technique, which is going to make the weapon that much deadlier. And yes, this is a dexterity build. It's pretty straightforward. I have ideally this is a high level character because I have already beaten the DLC with this guy right in here, but ideally I'd say that it should be 30, 30 and 30 just for you to be able to carry the heaviest weapons possible. Ideally, what I would like to be doing right in here is to actually be using this alongside with the bow, so you have two dexterity weapons. That one, it's like melee range, that it's very powerful, but whenever you actually need to close the distance to actually get some distance with the enemy, or maybe attack the enemy from a distance, you use the bow to attack the enemy from a distance, and once they get close you get back to your claws. So that's something that you can have, because these are weapons that actually scale out of the same stat. But yeah, ideally 30, 30 and 30 just for you to be able to carry heavy weapons, and then the two weapons right in here, and then 40 for the actual damage scaling that you're going to have for the claws. There's a couple of good options when it comes to the Legion arms. The one that I'm using right in here, it's Icarus. Remember that this can be used with either Motivity and Technique. I love this one because you can attack enemies whilst at the same time, while the blades are flurrying the enemy, you can attack with the basic attacks, so that's actually kind of nice. However, one more thing that it can be using, it's like, for example, the Aegis that has very good scaling with technique, and it gives you extra added little protection. But the ideal one, which I do not like that much because it just looks too bulky, if you can bypass that, that's the ideal one that you should be doing, because this has A scaling on technique, and since we are a technique aka dexterity build, this is going to be ideal for this. Little more than that, the place that these weapons are going to be excelling at is at breaking enemy stances because of the critical hit chance. The critical hits that you deal upon the enemy, like I have already mentioned before, they deal tremendous amounts of stance and stagger damage. But also what I love about this weapon is what has already been previously discussed. Since they are very fast, you can be very aggressive with them, but it's also very safe to use them because you do not have to commit to longer animations, so that you can be dodging and blocking whenever you want to, and you can actually take advantage of huge, and I mean huge, windows of opportunity when it comes to dealing damage to the enemies. So yeah, if you're looking for like a very fast and aggressive playstyle, this weapon is just monstrous. It's beautiful. I love it. It has amazing tracking, and it's just like the extra dexterity weapon that you have on the base of the DLC. Like, you can be using the sword. There's several swords, the katana, that you have on the base game of the DLC, of the base game of Lies of P. But if you're looking for something fresh for your dexterity build, these guys right in here are just very powerful. If you like the content, say like and never super appreciate it, and also that you're gorgeous and beautiful person, you're indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person, subscribe to the channel, you're in Discord, have a beautiful day, goodbye.